It is September 11th, and this is day 3 of, reading the Bible. And, um, here in America, it is, we just remember the past, and what happened on September 11th was horrible, and, 2,996 people lost their lives that day, and they had no idea what was coming. So I had a chance about 3 weeks ago now to go to New York and to see the memorial that's there, and it was a sobering experience, and so um, I just thank the give my thanks to the first responders and those there were so many heroic actions of that day of people going in and helping others, putting themselves in danger to help others that were stuck in the towers or trying to get out. So my thoughts go to the families and victims of that tragedy. But and it's not appropriate, but in Genesis chapter 6, it talks about how as men, we just, as a human race, we just kind of gnash at each other, and it's unfortunate. But that's part of the reading today, and there's a lot in here. But there's about 7 readings today, but I'm gonna read Genesis 6 and talk a little bit about that. And again, to my grandchildren, I hope that you know that I love you, and I'm praying for you on this side, even though that you're not here. So yeah, so here we go. Before I do that, though, I just want to play a little bit of music in the background. This song by Iron Bell Music, a song called "God That Saves," and I love the song. It's just it's a neat song. So bear with me 1 second. Try and get all the technical workings going on. Mm. I'm gonna pause it 1 second. And I'm back. So here we go. Genesis chapter 6. Now it came to pass. Oh, technical difficulties again. Wow. Come on. Boy, this is going to be a mess up. Oof. Now it came to pass. This is Genesis chapter 6. When men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they choose. So at this point, it seems that one man could have many wives. At this time, I know that's not a custom that we we do, and I think having more than one wife is enough for any guy. But that's just my opinion. Well, and God sets it up in the beginning that way anyway. So again, we just, as humans, we just, we have a capability of really messing things up. But grace is there, and we love it. And the Lord said, "My spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh." That's interesting. "Yet his days shall be 120 years." Now that's another one to kind of wrap your mind around. Like, so does that mean that for 120 years, that's your lifespan? So that's something that's commentated on quite a bit and conjectured, and I still kind of like, well, when I saw that, it's like, okay, 120 years. Nobody lives past 120 years. So, but continuing on for verse 4, there were giants on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. So again, sons of God. Sometimes, there's commentary and there's disposition of, sons of God could be the angels. So I know it's conjecture, but just putting it out there, and I kind of lean on the side of sons of God. Then, they have sexual relations with women, and you have these creatures called the Nephilim, but we'll get into that in a little bit as well. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So God does show emotion. He is sorrowful. However, so the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping things and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. But, here it is, the but. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. So now we're going to go into the genealogy of Noah. Noah was just a man, perfect in his generations. He's not perfect because he inherits sin. And what I mean by that everything that is a product from Adam and Eve and the earth begin to decompose. We begin to die from that point on. That's the curse, right? That's the separation that we have from God, and that's the effect. You have this effect of something that's outside of your control, that's outside of my control, but I feel the effects of it, and that's something we need to be more mindful of as we, engage in relationships and engage with people and community, communities of people. What we do, we may not realize it has a lasting impact on a relationship later on down the road. And again, there's definitely forgiveness, but there's always an effect of something that we may do that has a negative impact on somebody's life. So that is the impact of Adam and Eve in their decision to go against what God had set up. So they're put away from God for a time, and we, the offspring of them, are judged in that, but God makes a way. And so let's continue. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So God's going to destroy the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Gopher wood, gotta find out what that is. Pretty cool sounding name, anyway. Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside and outside with pitch. So that's like tar. I think that's the best description there, or what I've been taught anyway. And this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits. This is a cubit. Now, of an adult male, right? A child has is a smaller dimension from fingertip to elbow, but an adult male, that's what they use for a cubit, for measurement, right? Because we didn't have rulers, and we didn't define at that time. There wasn't a definition of a set standard length. So the cubit, an adult man's arm right here, this was the measure of a cubit. So 300 of those, right? So it's like, if it's 300 cubits, the length, and its width is 50 cubits, and its height is 30 cubits. So you shall make a window for the ark. Maybe I'm off on the cubits, because it seems like that would be a pretty small boat. So maybe I need to check out Creation Museum, right? So that's a plug for that, because I think they dialogue that, they explain that a lot better than I'm explaining. You shall make a window for the ark, and you shall finish it to a cubit from above, right? So here's the length from the top of the ark down here. You shall make a window for the ark, and it goes around, and you shall finish it and set the door of the ark in its side, and you shall make it with a lower, a second, and third decks. And behold, myself, I am bringing flood waters on the earth to destroy from under heaven all flesh, which is the breath of life. Everything that is on the earth shall die. But I will establish my covenant. Covenant is a promise with you, and you shall go into the ark. You, your sons, he had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, Japheth, and their wives. So that was 6. Noah's wife, 7, 8. Keep track of that number 8. It's very important. And every living thing of all flesh you shall bring, 2 of every sort, into the ark to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. That's important too. Of the birds after their kind, and animals after their kind, and of every creeping thing on the earth after its kind. 2 of every kind will come to you to keep them alive. And you shall take for yourself of all food that is eaten, and you shall gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them. Thus Noah did, according to all that God commanded him, so he did. Alright, so that's Genesis 6. I'm going to read a little bit more. Genesis 7, Matthew 3, 7 through 17, Matthew 4 through 1 through 11, Psalms, and then Proverbs. But this has been my 3rd day of reading, and it's kind of odd to do this across, knowing that, hopefully that there's an audience of my kids and grandkids, and maybe their grandkids later on. So that's my hope. That's my desire in doing this, so that I can leave something for you guys. So I love you guys. I hope that whoever sees this is walks away from it, even thinking just like I am. I'm reading some of this stuff and I'm like, man, sons of God, and this flood that's about to happen, and what are the impacts, even for me today, as I just kind of think about and ruminate of God's word, and the importance of getting to know my Father in heaven. I mean, it's I want to have that intimacy like I would know, my Father here, or even Papa Bob, and just to be drawn closer to him. So that's my desire, and that's my desire and my prayer for each one of my families. So with that, I am going to sign off, and blessings to each and every one of you. See ya.